Hey everyone, welcome into April. This winter was pretty uneventful, but we did pick up some cattle in December, and even throughout the winter months, we picked up a couple more, and we also picked up some more goats. So our cow and goat herds are doing absolutely phenomenal. So we did go with the Holsteins. Unfortunately, the brown Swiss genetics were just atrocious. So we didn't pick up any brown Swiss. I was really hoping to go with brown Swiss in this series, but boy, they were rough. So we ended up just going with the Holsteins instead. You can see we've got quite a few out here in the pasture. We got some younger ones here, like Shadowfax is 11 months old, so not quite breeding age. But then we've got some older girls out here that are of breeding age. And we are expecting some babies already, so this is fantastic. There is a bull out here somewhere. Unfortunately, they are hard to find out here because they do still look like the females, which is very disappointing. And we even have a baby. So this is Indigo. She is 4 months old. Doesn't look like it. Looks like she's still having a hard time standing up, but she is 4 months old. And anywho, our cattle are doing very, very well. We do not have any milk yet because we have not received any baby cows. So we're waiting for them to be born before we get any. And I tried to space out the age in some of the cattle that we bought to make sure that we can try and get milk throughout the entire year. But they are doing absolutely wonderful. So we'll go ahead and jump this fence and we can run over here. Our chickens are doing absolutely phenomenal as well. So you can see most of them anyway, running around out here in this grass. Definitely need to get this grass mowed. It is looking pretty rough. And our goat barn over here is doing very, very well. You can see we've got 397 liters of goat milk. So we're just about ready to get our dairy fired up. I'm going to go ahead and wait until we do have some cattle before I fire up the dairy, as our goats just really aren't producing much. And apparently I was in her way. So, that's a first. I've never had a goat push me out of the way. And their pasture is very, very full. I've only given them one grass bale. Gave them one grass bale. That was more than enough to get them through the winter. So I don't think we're going to do any grass baling this year, which is, honestly pretty good. But you can see some of the young ones that we have out here. Very young, very playful. And yet again, everybody is doing absolutely phenomenal. So very, very happy with where our animals are. Now, we run over here. You can see I've already got the trailer loaded up with all of our vegetables from the greenhouse. Our greenhouses are doing absolutely phenomenal, keeping us well above water here. You can see we're sitting at 74,791 euros. And I'm very, very happy with that. So we're going to go ahead, get this run down to the farmer's market, get it sold off. And then we need to feed our cattle. And as I'm coming around the corner here, you can see I have a pad here for loose hay, so we can use our loader bucket to scoop up the hay and make it a little bit more realistic instead of just throwing full hay bales into our feed wagon, which doesn't work because our hay bales are way too big for the feed wagon we have. But that's, a story for another time here. But we'll go ahead and get our cattle fed when we get back, but first we need to get all these vegetables sold off. And as we come around the corner here, you can see our wheat field and our barley field. They're looking absolutely wonderful. Unfortunately, the barley has not grown up quite tall enough to cover up those weeds, but the wheat field looks absolutely fantastic. Not a weed in sight. So very, very happy with that. Now we'll go ahead and finish our trip down to the farmer's market here. All right, we'll go ahead and get backed into the farmer's market. And we'll get all this sold off. And we made some pretty good money there. So we're up to 92,828 euros. I'm very, very happy with that. So we'll go ahead, head back to the home place here, get our cattle fed, and then we need to mow down some of our grass so we can make some hay. And I almost forgot, we bought a new tractor this winter. or at least new to us. This is a Schluter 2500 VL automatic. It's got quite a few hours on it, but it is a beast of a tractor and it will pull a bigger seeder. And if we look around the corner here, there is no seeder here anymore. And that's because we sold it off. We're going to be leasing a seeder this year. Unfortunately, we don't have the money to buy the one that I want, but we do have the money to go ahead and lease a really good seeder. So that is what we're going to be planting with this year. It's a very, very big tractor. Really happy to have it here on the farm. As you can see, none of the other equipment has changed. But we're going to go ahead and jump in the Zader here and start filling our feed wagon so we can get our cattle fed here. All right, and as you guys can see, this little concrete pad here has worked out really, really well for splitting our bales open here. Now, I wish I had a grinder for bales. That would be absolutely fantastic, but I don't have one in game, so I'm just splitting the bales open, bringing them over here, splitting them open, and they pile up really nicely as is. So that's how this pile is working out, but it's absolutely phenomenal being able to use it and actually have loose hay to pick up instead of just throwing a hay bale in. I like doing it this way much, much better. All right, and our feed wagon is full, so our mix ratio is 4 buckets of hay, 3 buckets of silage, or almost 3 full buckets of silage, and that gives us a really good ratio here for our TMR. Go ahead and dump the last of that silage back in here. And something we learned in our last series is you can't put chaff into a silage bunker that has silage. So when it comes time for us to mow our grass down and get ready to turn it into silage, we will go ahead and sell whatever silage we have left and at least make a profit off of it. And that way we're always rotating fresh silage for our cattle. I'm not sure how much, of this silage we'll have left over when we're done, but I'm sure it's going to be a bit. So we're going to go ahead and run this over to our cattle here. We're sitting at about a 57% and 42% mix, hay to silage, and part of that is because I definitely missed some hay. It's laying on the ground instead of in the feed wagon like it's supposed to be, so that's a bit of an issue there. But normally it's more like a 60-40 mix here. Well, we'll go ahead and get these cattle fed. This feed wagon is really nice, even though it is pretty small. It's still pretty convenient to have and works really, really well. Now, we are out of hay. The hay that we have in the pile is all that we have, so that is why we need to make sure we get our grass mowed and turned into hay this month, because we are completely out once that pile is gone, and it's very maybe enough for one more feed wagon, and that's it. So we definitely need to make sure that we get our hay made this month, and there's clouds rolling in later today, which typically means rain here in Monteriggioni. All right, we got our cattle fed. So we don't have any milk yet. They've got plenty of straw. They've got 3,300 liters of manure that we do need to get moved down to our greenhouses this month. That way they can keep producing vegetables for us. And we have quite a bit of slurry that I have no idea what we're going to do with. Maybe I can find a used slurry applicator somewhere in the used market, but maybe we'll just sell the slurry too. It's probably worth more money than it is to spread it out on the field. Honestly, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and run down here, grab the Zader that I left down in the bunker, and get the mower hooked up so we can start mowing right away here. All right, we got our Kloss mower hooked up here. We're going to go ahead and get it fired up. And we're not going to mow quite as much as we did for our silage because we just don't need it for hay. And we're not going to go down between the fields through the headlands and waterways because the crop is tall enough now that we will destroy it if we drive through it. So I definitely took advantage of it last fall, being able to drive through the field due to FS25 physics and not destroy the crop when it was at, its first growth stage. But we definitely will destroy that crop now. So I'm just going to do this little triangle piece here and all the way around our grass field. Now I will do a little bit of the outside here that isn't actually field, just like I always do, but we're just not going to do near as much as we did last fall for our silage. All right, we got all of our hay mowed, tedded, and raked, and we're ready to start baling. So we'll get this thing fired up, get it dropped down, and see how many bales we end up with. Hopefully we get quite a few, but really, all in all, we don't need a whole lot. But if we can get a few extra to sell, that would be absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and hammer out all of this baling, see what we end up with, and I'll catch up to you guys when we are finished. All right, and just like that, we're coming up on the end of our baling. Definitely did not take very long. Make sure we got every little bit here, and we do. So we'll go ahead, unload this baler. And we ended up with 7 bales in total. Not too bad. Nothing, to write home about by any means. But our grass field is rather small, so 7 bales, especially this size, that's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and get this put away, get all the bales picked up. And I think we're going to need to spread a little bit of lime, maybe some fertilizer on this grass field. I'm not honestly sure. All right, so it's looking like we definitely need to spread a little bit of lime and quite a bit of fertilizer out here. So once we get all these bales picked up, we'll go ahead and start spreading some lime and fertilizer. And I do have some lime left over in the shed yet. So I don't know if it'll be enough to get us, taken care of here or not, but it'll at least help. And we're down to $90,812 because this poor Zader tractor was in desperate need of some maintenance. So we got that taken care of. It is good to go now. And so far, all in all, this tractor has been absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead, since we're here, get this manure scooped up and get this hauled down to our greenhouses here. Not a whole lot by any means, but every little bit helps. And I do believe it is helping produce more vegetables out of our greenhouses. So definitely going to go ahead and get this taken care of, and then we can put the bale fork on and I'll just run around the field. I can pick up 2 at a time with them being hay, and with only being 7 bales, it's just not going to take very long. All right, we've got all of our bales picked up and we're ready to start spreading out some lime. So we've got 1,200 liters on here, and this should be enough, hopefully, to... nope, never mind. Yep, definitely won't be enough. So we will be refilling, but I do have more lime in the shed, so hopefully we have enough on hand and I don't actually have to purchase any. That is my hope. Definitely not going to hold my breath on it, though. That is for certain. But this little, fertilizer spreader here, even though it is tiny, works pretty good for this little grass field, at least. Our big fields, yeah, not so much, but at least for the grass field, it does work pretty decent. And we're out of lime. Made it, I'd say probably 3/4 of the way around the field, so not too bad. This next fill up, I'm really hoping will finish this off as long as we can get this thing full. Not quite sure how much lime is actually sitting in our shed here, but hopefully it's enough to refill this lime spreader at least one more time. All right, and we were able to get it filled one more time, so we will have enough lime on hand to go ahead and get this field finished. Unfortunately, we're definitely not going to have enough lime on hand, or enough fertilizer on hand, because we put it all into our greenhouses. So definitely going to have to buy some fertilizer, but thankfully we don't need a whole lot for this little grass field here. Definitely going through significantly more lime to get this field covered. And then again, never mind. We're definitely out of lime. So we're going to go ahead and fill up again. My goodness, the amount of lime we go through with precision farming is insane. And honestly, I haven't looked at my barley and wheat fields yet, but when I looked at them last year, doing all of that fertilizing and liming didn't make a difference on the yield. At least not for what it was showing the potential was. So I'm not entirely certain that this whole precision farming thing is all that it's cracked out to be. All right, and we are finally done spreading lime, so we can go ahead and get rid of the rest of this. It's only 176 liters, and we'll go ahead and refill with some fertilizer here. All right, and that costs 968 euros. Now, hopefully we don't go through all of this fertilizer, but at this point, I'm assuming we're going to. We seem to go through significantly more than what I think we're going to. All right, and you can see we're sitting at the perfect pH and perfect nitrogen now. So this should yield quite well, and to be completely honest, I'm betting next month it shows the exact same yield possibility as it would have if we wouldn't have done anything to it. Just like when we run over here, our wheat is sitting at 89% potential yield. That's what this field sat at without any nitrogen or lime spread on it whatsoever. So honestly, I think the environmental bonus is the only reason to even attempt to do any of the extra field work, because you're getting the same yield regardless. But that is going to be it for the month of April here. Not a whole lot going on this month, so I will see you guys in June when we're ready to harvest our barley. And we're going to go ahead and call this an episode, so if you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.